Hello again, everybody. It's picks time for NFL Week 16. Um, Good stuff here this week. Um, Excuse me. So, John Morant did not really get into much about his return the other day, but we shall go over how it went against Pelicans. It wasn't pretty. Um, at the start for the Grizzlies being down, 17-18 at halftime. But they rallied back, and John Morant ultimately finished with 34 points, including the game winner, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Good stuff in their return. Now, they are well below 500, and it's a long season. But as I mentioned the other day, don't want to dig yourself too big of a hole as we get into the middle of this, get near the middle of the season. Excuse me. And ultimately, you want to finish strong. Finish strong. So we'll see how it goes. But for picks, hope everyone has good Christmas, good holidays. We'll get into picks now. But yeah, hope everyone has good holidays, Christmas, and all that. Christmas is Monday, so we'll see how things go for, podcasts and stuff. But if you're going out of town or just spend time with family, etc., hope everyone has good holidays for us this weekend. But not too much to crack about other than picks time, so let's get into them. So, starting off Thursday, Rams hosting the Saints. This, in a way, is a playoff game. It's now, Saints are still viable for the division. They're tied with the Bucks currently at 7-7. Now, the Bucks currently hold the tiebreaker, so we'll see on that. But, yeah, the Rams, you could say, need this game more. Even if the Saints don't lose, they're still viable for the division, depending on what happens with the Bucks and Jags on Sunday. But, yeah, with the way Matthew Stafford and the offense has been rumbling as of late, on a roll at home. Although I'm sure a bunch of Saints fans will be there in SoFi. I'm going to say the Rams, take this one 24-17. Like I mentioned, Saints have been very up and down. You're not sure what to expect from them. Best way to say it. So, yeah, we'll see. But Rams 24-17. 2 games on Saturday. So, enough. These two teams' second straight Saturday game on Saturday. Bengals beat the Vikings in overtime last week. Steelers got blown out after having a 13-0 lead versus the Colts on the road. Now, good news for the Steelers is that they're at home. It's in Pittsburgh. We know they need this game more to stay alive. Bengals, Jake Browning, his first start of the season, was with against the Steelers, and very much a filling out process for how he would be. And Kenny Pickett played that game. It wasn't pretty, but it was their first game without Matt Canada, 400 yards, and that was going to be a change in new direction. Now, Mason Rudolph going to start instead of Mitch Trubisky. It appears on Saturday with, the Bengals. Reportedly, Jamar Chase will be out with a shoulder issue. These divisional games are weird. I'm not saying that Steelers are the better team, but I just think with the scenario and the venue, I'm going Steelers at home. Agree one, 20-17. Actually, make it, I would say 17-15. Yeah, there we go. Steelers. Bills going to SoFi. Play the Chargers. SoFi is having two games. One on Thursday, one on Saturday. This time the Bills are coming to SoFi. 12.5-point favorites on the road. Bills dominated the Cowboys on the ground at home. Now, it's not going to be their home stadium, but it'll probably feel like a home game with Bills fans in the stands. 8-6, if they win, keep winning, and get some help, they will be in the playoffs. And, the way they've been looking as of late, I mean, it's crazy. Now, you can have mixed feelings about the Bills all you want. The reality is they beat some good teams, and they almost beat the Eagles in overtime. So, I mean, I just feel like Bills, there's the thing of don't peak too early. And I feel like they're starting to peak right now. So I'm going to go with Bills 30-17. And, Easton Stick, no Keenan Allen again. It's going to be a harsh one for the Chargers after last week. Now, I do think there will be some uplifting with no Brandon Staley, but as far as players and circumstances, think it'll be just kind of too much for the Chargers on Saturday. Packers going to Carolina. Packers are weary right now. Panthers got an uplift of a win. Wasn't much scoring, but they got an uplift of a win over division rival Falcons in the rain, 9-7. You know, here's the thing. Jordan Love, you know, they could have won against the Giants. You know, we're seeing the flaws still in that team. And it's like, got all mind high after that 3-game win streak. And, you know, now they've lost 2 straight. However, Jordan Love is not as bad as Desmond Ritter. They probably win that game if Desmond Ritter does not throw a pick. So, you know, another win, good for the organization, but I'm going to go with Packers because they're still in the thick of things in the NFC wildcard. So I'm going to go with 17-10 Packers. This line was funny because it started out 2.5 points for the Texans at home. And then since then has moved to the Browns on the road, favored by 2. Now, it may not be, or I should say, it may be Case Keenum again for the Texans. And I will say, besides the pick 6, Keenum did fine against the Titans. And plus their defense played their butts off. And they are still alive, but so are the Browns. And this may be the most talented Browns team I've seen, you know, ever really. You know, with the way they're operating the last couple weeks, I mean, I will say Joe Flacco didn't look pretty against the Bears, but the defense is arguably the best in the league. Held their own against Fields and wound up mustering a drive to tie it and ultimately take the lead at the end. And yeah, they almost lost in a Hail Mary, but point is they won. So this is going to be an interesting dynamic. Case Keenum versus Joe Flacco. Unique. Well, right now I'd say with everything that has happened with the Texans offense, you know, just feel like the Browns are going to get it done. 21-17 over Texans. They get to 10 wins, and they could still win the division as well for Baltimore. Now, they're going to have to win out and get some help, but, we'll see. Ravens have two interesting games coming up versus San Fran and the Dolphins. Colts are underdogs in Atlanta. Falcons, 1 point favorites at home. Taylor Heinicke, Desmond Ridder bench once again. And, I had expectations for, I think, many, for this Falcons team with the talent they have to perhaps win the division. Now, there is a way, but it's not going as smoothly as I think we kind of figured. Colts, three-way tie now for the South. I think that they believe that they can win the division. Now, with the woes of the Jags, with the injuries to the Texans, it's crazy. We didn't have much expectations. I mean, Anthony Richardson played well to start the season, and then he got hurt. Since then, Gardner Minshew has done his job and has done it well. And, no Jonathan Taylor last week, but Zach Moss has been holding his own for a good chunk of the season. So, I'm going to go with the better team and better quarterback, obviously, Colts. 20-17 on the road. They moved to 9-6, and we'll see. Lions on the road in Minnesota. Lions 3-point favorites on the road. It is tough for Vikings fans. I mean, at 1-4, they were left in the dirt. Since then, that 5-game win streak, Cousins was playing well, and then Josh Jacobs for a couple weeks, and then he regressed. And then, you go Nick Mullins, who played well besides some turnovers last week. So you saw the improvement in the offense against the Bengals, and probably should have won that game in overtime. But still, they messed things up. They just messed things up, not going for the field goal. I get it, you want to go closer, but I mean, if you're in range to win, that gamble is difficult. Lions, they can sense now with a win will be their first division title in over 30 years somewhere. I expect the Lions to have some woes versus the Vikings offense because their defense, has been shaking. Now they did play stout versus the Broncos and bending but not breaking. So I do expect the Vikings to give a very good effort, but Lions know the division is right there, and they still have a shot at the 1 seed. So they, I think, just have more to play for. The Vikings, realization, they're a good team that can make the playoffs, but losing a manageable game in Denver, losing a manageable game versus Chicago, losing a 3-point game in overtime versus the Bengals, those are 3 more W's which make you feel much more reasonable. And I do like how their defense has looked in a turn this year. So, but 31-20, Lions win. Tough game. I don't remember the last time the Jets were favored. It is probably, after they beat the Giants, maybe. But nonetheless, Commanders going to MetLife to play the Jets. Jets 3-point favorites at home. Who's playing quarterback? That's the big question. Because Zach Wilson, it does suck to that injury first Miami. So, he may play. It may be Trevor Simeon. Very difficult. But I feel like this is a game of pride for both teams. Because both teams are not going to make the playoffs. At home. The Aaron Rodgers whole shtick of this year certainly was a lot of disappointment. Because I think many were hoping to see many of good games with Aaron Rodgers for the Jets this year, and that unfortunately was taken away in 4 snaps. But see, the Commanders are young and they're good and they're talented. Jacoby Brissett, they said they're going to go back to Sam Howell. You know, tough, but the story still of the Jets is that great defense. That very solid defense. So I'm going to go with Jets. Find a way, 17-13. You know, like they did. First, the Texans are going to find a way for the Commanders. Seahawks in Tennessee playing the Titans. Seahawks 2.5 point favorites on the road. Titans, you know, Will Levis had a gruesome looking injury in overtime for the Texans. It didn't look pretty, but luckily he was on his feet out of the medical tent. You know, all that stuff. But apparently he's not going to play or he's not going to practice today. So odds are it seems like it's going to be Ryan Tannehill. So there's that. Tannehill, it's odd because, again, I think he has not gotten enough credits for, or he's taken too much flack for his time in Tennessee. And, you know, nonetheless, Derrick Henry is not, he's taking a step back. He's still very good. He's just not what he was of years past. And part of that you can credit to a few things, you know, the offensive line, young and more inexperienced. You know, it's not sentiment for Derrick Henry. DeAndre Hopkins has done better. You know, Seahawks got that uplifter of winning against the Eagles at home. You know, great game-winning touchdown by Drew Lock to Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's tough. But I'm going with the Seahawks. You know, they got more to play for. They got, right now, they're the better team. Yeah. Going to Seahawks to win 23-17. This is a tough one. Jaguars going to Tampa Bay. Now, according to Mike Garafolo, said that Trevor Lawrence did not practice today. Still in concussion protocol. So, I mean, we'll see. Jags have had issues the last 3 weeks. They should beat the Bengals. Could beat the Browns. They would probably beat the Ravens without, you know, the fumbles, the missed opportunities for points. You know, Baker has been playing better. He's had a solid season. So, look, I'm going with the Buccaneers 23-20. You know, they get the win and move forward in the division. Tampa Bay 23-20. Bears hosting the Cardinals. Bears 4.5 point favorites. Now, the Bears, they're in a weird spot. Or I should say they're in a unique spot. Why I say that? Because Panthers are arguably the worst team in the league. You know, the more they lose, it only helps the Bears. And their own draft pick is looking good for the Bears as well. But surprisingly, with this odd season, they are still kind of alive for a wildcard spot. Now, they host the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, since his return, it's been hit or miss. You know, 2 solid wins for Pittsburgh and the Falcons. Trey McBride has really come into his own, it seems. He has over 700 yards on the season in his second season out of Colorado State. The dude can play. First time I've seen a young, very good tight end for Arizona, like ever. And Justin Fields, he's been playing better. I mean, that lot. That loss versus the Lions the first time, he played good in that game. They found a way to win against the Vikings. They won here, or they won versus the Lions in Chicago. I'm going with the Bears here, 24-20. So, Cardinals slightly cover, but Bears win. Game of the day, certainly. Not of the weekend, if you can believe. But game of the day. Cowboys going to Miami after getting stomped by the Bills in Buffalo. Now they go to Miami to play the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill may play, it seems, after sitting out the Jets game. So, Dolphins found a way, 30-0 over the Jets. So, this is a bit of a reality check game for the Cowboys. Because Dak was on that very good roll. And I even said, after after the Cowboys stomped the Eagles, Dak is in the MVP conversation. And that was a bad game as a whole for the Cowboys versus the Bills. Now, I won't say some of the penalties were iffy. Then again, why have we not said that this year or the last couple of years for the officials? Nonetheless, Bills ran over the Cowboys. So, Yeah, it's going to be a question, you know, is that an aberration or a sign that, again, Cowboys are really good, but are not a serious threat in the playoffs? So, yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Cowboys in Miami. Miami slight favorites, 1 point favorite. If I'm going to take an upset, because I've only taken two. So the weird thing is you have to take a couple upsets to try to get a higher score of picks sometimes. So this can be tough. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys here in a fun one. And they find a way. 26-24 on the road. Sunday Night Football. Christmas Eve football. Broncos hosting the Patriots. Broncos 6.5 point favorites at home. You know, the Broncos, again, much like the Cowboys, we don't know. But against the Lions, it was just too much. And the Lions showed how good they are. Broncos, reality check, they're not going to win the division. They still are viable for a playoff spot and may very well do that. And Patriots, if there was a chance to beat the Chiefs with the way things are for this season, yes, last week was time. It wasn't the case. I'm going to go with the Broncos here, 20-13. Christmas football, then. The last three games of Week 16. Chiefs hosts the Raiders. Chiefs, 10-point favorites. Raiders pretty much get a extra half bye after that demolishing of the Chargers with Easton sick on Thursday Night Football. Now they go on the road to play the Chiefs. Chiefs, we know, have looked really good. However you want to say it, Travis Kelce's still having a good season. Rashee Rice, has come on strong the last couple of games. He has over 700 yards on the season. So they still have good pieces. And their defense, still solid, one of the better. It's just something about this Chiefs team that's not the same. Now, against the Raiders in Las Vegas, they had trouble. They were down 14-0. But Raiders couldn't do anything then after that. So Chiefs will probably win. Things will probably be fine. But they just don't feel like a great Super Bowl contender this year, if I have to say. So 30-17, Chiefs win. They sweep the Raiders. Yeah. Eagles hosting the Giants and Tommy DeVito. Eagles 10.5-point favorites. Here's the thing about the Eagles. They should win out. They should. And everything should be fine. Based on this 3-game losing streak, things have looked very much not good. Like, they have issues. You know, their pass rush is one of the best. But if it doesn't hit home, then their secondary, we know, has issues. And A.J. Brown had a better game, but feels like the connection is up in there. Now, Devontae Smith did not practice today, but so I mean, they should win out, but I'm not confident in how they may stumble because they played the Giants twice, and we know Giants, division opponent, anything can happen. So, I'm going with the Eagles 28-17, but it's the least confident 28-17 I've felt in pretty much ever. And this is the big one. Game of the week, probably game of the year, probably Super Bowl preview between arguably the two best teams in the league right now. Ravens in San Francisco, Christmas night. San Fran, 5.5-point favorites. Ow. This just feels like a physicality, type of game. Like a rough type of game. Bit of low scoring, but still very fun. Both have weapons, Obviously, let's start with the 49ers. So, 49ers, we know, Brock Purdy's having a great season, good but kind of skeptical season. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, etc. Guys know the drill. Trent Williams, arguably the best offensive lineman in football. The defense, Nick Bosa, Kerry Hyder. I think he's on another team, my bad. But you got Drake Jackson. You got, bunch of guys. Jerron Hargrave. Chase Young. Fred Warner. You got a number of guys. Charvarius Ward on secondary. Deshaun Gibson doesn't get enough love. Then on the Ravens side, not as glamorous, but Lamar Jackson showed he's having a great season as well. That run game is still solid with Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. Now they take a hit with Keaton Mitchell out for the rest of the season. He was injured versus Jacksonville, so that's going to suck. But still, they've been proven running back by committee. Now, OBJ is having a bounce back season. After tearing his ACL with the Rams in that Super Bowl, he's having a solid season. Zay Flowers, So without Mark Andrews, they've been solid on offense. Now on defense, Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone, Marlon Humphrey, got some suds. Justin Madubuike, Jadeveon Clowney, they got solid guys on that team as well. The better team, though, and you guys have heard me say, the best team in football currently is San Fran. So they are probably going to win this, but it's going to be ugly. And yeah, I'm going with 49ers here, 20-14. And yeah, maybe a preview of the Super Bowl. I think we'll enjoy it. But so those are my picks, guys. 13-3 last week. Let's go for better this week. So 3 more weeks left to go for picks. So let's finish strong for the regular season. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for joining me. Of course, say Joe, Joe and love. Subscribe button over here. Find it. Smash that like button. Thank you all. Leave a thumbs up. See you guys next time. Happy holidays. Be safe. Peace.